A man by the name of Franz Lindemans laid the groundwork for a brewery in 1811, just southwest of Brussels. The Lindemans Brewery eventually started production in 1822. The family-owned brewery focused on lambics, which was a popular beer style of the region. For the first 100 years of production, Lindemans used crops from its own farm, but by 1930, they had to expand. The brewery, which is still family-owned to this day, didn't start making its framboise until 1980. But is this raspberry lambic worth checking out? Find out now on Two Dudes Reviews.
What up, guys? Yeah, we have another beer review. We have the Lindemans Raspberry Lambic beer, which I am very excited to crack open. It's been a little while since I've had this. And, crazy enough, this might be the first Lambic I've actually reviewed on this station. I mean, I got like 200 beer reviews, and I'm trying to think. I don't know if I've actually done a Lambic before. And, which is crazy, because I think I like a good Lambic. I mean, the modern sour is kind of, a weird turn away from a lambic. I feel like the lambic is just more, a good made lambic is more, more refined. It's got more, it's not just like sour juice. There's a lot more stuff going on. There's a lot more history going on. It's almost like if you took it's like the modern American sour is like an M&M, and you're comparing it to like a Parisian chocolate that's, they refined the recipe over like 500 years. It's kind of like, I mean, M&M's pretty good. I'm not trying to hate on the M&M, but that other thing, it's just, I don't know. But it's been a while since I've had the raspberry lambic. So let's get it done. And I used to have the official glass, but during all my subsequent moves, it broke. So now I'm using the Pilsner Urquell glass. But I do like this beer. It's been a long time, but it's one of those beers that I was with a girl at the time, and she hated beer. I would always try a different kind of drink, a different beverage, different beer, and she'd always be like, poo-poo it, like, ugh, this is bad, whatever. And it's always like, okay, I'm gonna get a drink, get a beer that she drinks and admits it. This was it. I tricked her. She didn't know it was a beer. Let's face it, when you're used to at the time, that this was 2009, so a good 10 years ago. You didn't really have, lambics, sours wasn't even really a thing in the United States. Lambics was not even like all that popular either. But then you pour this nice, like deep ruby red raspberry beer, and you drink it, and they're not gonna know it's a beer until you like, aha, gotcha. You admitted it. It was a beer. You liked it. Suck it. But all right. Anyways, I don't know where I was going with that, but let's get into this first lambic review. Get into the smell. Ooh, yeah, that is that raspberry poof punch up the nose. You can almost smell the fuzzy hair on the raspberry coming out of this. But I also like it because it doesn't have that fake raspberry smell, where it's like, it's just something like chemically about it that it's just like, it's off-putting. This smells like the actual raspberry juice. Growing up, we had raspberry bush in the yard. And so a lot of my summers as a kid was just picking raspberries and so I just like, that was just part of my childhood, just picking raspberries, putting them in a big old container, and just like, I didn't realize at the time how expensive raspberries are now. So I probably ate tens of thousands of dollars worth of raspberries as a child, and it's just whenever I smell raspberry, it just kind of takes me back to a kid playing in the backyard. So it already has that kind of thing going for it. But it's really hard to smell anything else but the raspberry, to be perfectly honest. maybe a little bit of wheat, maybe, but the raspberry is so powerful. I mean, that's what you're gonna smell. But I like it. I'm gonna recommend the review. I mean, on the smell, I like that there's still a nice head to it. But all right, let's get into the taste. Yeah, there we go. That's good. That's good. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the modern sour movement. To me, a lot of the beers are a little just kind of kitschy. They're more novelty. Where the first time I had a sour, I basically laughed. I think I did a review of it. I'd never had an actual sour before. It just like it tasted like a sour like Warhead candy. But that was more of like a novelty thing for me. That wasn't something that I was going to drink all the time. I'd have one and be like, okay, that was funny. But there was no complexity to it. It was just like it was sour. It was like an entertaining kind of thing. But there's nothing like interesting to it. That's why I feel like the Lambic stands out, because yes, it does have a bit of that juicy sourness to it, but there's so much more going on here. I mean, you got the raspberry, and it's tart, but it's not really sour. It's just enough to be refreshing, but not enough to be like, ugh, like super sour. I can't drink anything else. It's you can taste some of the wheat base of the beer. You can almost taste like the dirt that the raspberries were grown in, and that's a good thing. It's almost like an earthy kind of thing to it. It's I don't know, man. It's just, I mean, so he says, with this aged hops in here, I don't really get much of a bitterness, a hoppiness to it. It's just, I feel like it's just a nice drink when you're craving something with maybe a little extra sugar after it's been so hot, and you just want you want something with a little more flavor than your standard Pilsner or lager or whatever. And maybe you're not gonna be drinking a bunch of it. You just want something that'll cut the heat, give you some taste, and not make you pucker for the next hour. This is that. This is just so great, and I get it. It's not for everybody. I mean, the IPA crowd that it's bitter. This is definitely not going to be someone that they like. But I don't. I'm trying to remember if this is. I don't think this is bottle fermented. Where you get the chunkiness pouring out. But yeah, I'm gonna recommend it on taste. It's just, I don't know. It's very, very satisfying. So, yes, I'm going to recommend it on taste. All right, next category is value for price. And Belgian Lambics are a little tricky for value for price because they can get pricey. I think this little 8.5 ounce bottle was maybe, I think it was $5. Which is definitely more than what you're going to pay for your normal beer. I do like that they sell these small bottles now. There's 3 sizes of this, which is nice. So I think that was one thing that's been holding me back from doing more Lambic reviews. It's I didn't want to spend $20+ on a giant, a big old bottle that I'm not going to drink all at once. And so that always kind of held me back. But now that they get some of these smaller ones, it's perfect. So, but still, it's a little more pricey, but also the Framboise I'm not saying that right, but the Lambic beer, it's not super done, like heavily done in the United States. It's all sours, so you don't get as many like quality lambics. So you pretty much have to rely on either the French or the Belgian lambic style beer, and so it's like it's more expensive, but you're almost always, if you're buying a Belgian lambic, it's probably going to be pretty damn good. I don't think I've ever had like a bad Belgian lambic before, but I'm gonna give it a half on value for price. It's a little more costly. It's a little more expensive. It's not something you're just gonna pound away and get drunk off of, because you're probably gonna get a stomach issue before you get drunk, and you're probably gonna you almost get like a wine hangover probably if you do that. But it's a solid beer. It's a little more than you're going to pay all the time. So I'm going to give it a half for value price. All right, next category is distinction. How distinct is it? And I think honestly, for the quintessential raspberry lambic, I don't know, at least available in the States, I don't know if you're going to get something better than this. I don't think you can get something as refined as this. It's very, they say it's wild yeast fermented. It tastes kind of wild. It tastes like somebody picked the raspberries and added in the yeast and they made it themselves. It has that kind of like homey, yet like passed down generation to generation taste to it, which I absolutely love. That's why I'm a huge fan of like Belgian and German beers. It's like, because a lot of those beers you can really taste the history to it. Maybe I'm just imagining that, but for me, that's just one of those things that kind of draws me to it. It's the history of a particular beer I find fascinating, because a lot of times there's some really, really interesting reasons as to why it was made and how it came about. Especially with Belgium, how like the beers kind of like why there's so many different style of beers in Belgium of any other country. It's really interesting. And but for the distinction, yeah, there's a lot of other raspberry lambic beers out there, but they're all almost like trying to replicate what this is. This is like in many ways, end all be all of raspberry lambic beers. So even though there's others that try to duplicate it, I feel like they either just don't have the right ingredients, they cut corners, or just blah 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 blah. Anyways, I'm going to recommend this on distinction. I think it's hard to beat these. This is like the taste that if you're looking for this taste, this is the exact beer you're looking for. So if you want a little raspberry, and for a while, raspberry was like that was the thing. Like there's a Hoegaarden raspberry version. I've never had it. I don't know if that was ever imported into the States or not. But raspberry was just like the thing for a while. I'm sure. I think eventually it'll come back. People like experimenting with other beers, with other tastes. Raspberries are expensive, real raspberries. And I think enough people are catching on to that chemical fake crap that goes into other flavors where it's like, raspberry's a little expensive. But, so distinction, yes. All right, next category is drinkability. Yeah, you could destroy this thing. Absolutely. Like, you can't taste the alcohol. There's like, is there any alcohol even present in this thing? It's just one of those beers that you could absolutely destroy. It's, I'm not sure what the alcohol content is in this thing, but you don't taste it. Like, if a kid got into it, they'd just think it was sparkling grape juice or sparkling raspberry juice. It's just, you can't taste the alcohol. You just destroy this. If a kid ever got into the big bottle, woo, that's trouble. But yes, I'm going to recommend it on distinction. On drinkability. And all right, last category is would I buy it again? And yes, absolutely, I will buy it again. It has been a hot second since I've had this particular one. A lot of times it's just, again, it only came in, I could only find it in the big bottle. I didn't feel like downing a giant lambic by myself. This is one of those things where if you get in the big one, yeah, if you got two other people or, whatever, spread it around. It's also not a beer that I'm gonna just drink exclusively throughout the course of the night, because I feel like my stomach's gonna be like, dude, too much acidity, too much sweetness, you're gonna regret it later. So, but now that I can find these smaller ones, I think absolutely I'll be much more inclined to be buying more of these, and I think you'll be seeing me doing more Lambic reviews because I can't find some of these other ones. So I'm going to recommend it for that. Yes. So alright, that is the review. We're 5.5 out of 6. The only issue is sometimes the price gets a little pricey. But yes, that is my review of Lindemans Framboise. Ugh, I should probably look that up how to say it. Sorry. I'll figure it out. The raspberry. Look up how to say raspberry too. Raspberry Lambic beer. That's my review. If you have a favorite Lambic, let me know in the comments. I'll see if I can find it and give it a review. Hopefully they get a smaller bottle, but we'll get around to it. I'm trying to expand. I haven't done much of the German, Belgian beers. I'm gonna try to crush all the ones I can find. But yeah, so that is the review. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you'd like to subscribe, that'd be fantastic. And so for myself and for Lindemans Raspberry Lambic beer, take it easy.